Welcome everybody and good afternoon. Marc from Verve Group here with Matthew Carberry in our second of the series of videos that we intend to put out regarding the coronavirus and the impact that that's having on all of us. Today's topic, cash flow in a crisis. So we'll be talking about how we can protect our cash so it's a two-way process. How do we stop spending it? And how do we, continue to receive it from our customers? So, but before we do that, I just thought we'd have a little chat about social distancing, Verve Group through technology. For those who didn't notice in the first part of our series, we were in completely different rooms, and that's because I'm in self-isolation, having returned from overseas. And Matthew, who is some 5 kilometres away from me, is in the Verve Group office. So we're using a tool called Zoom, which we're finding really valuable. Not only can we Zoom everyone within Verve Group, but we're using it with our customers as well. So yes, through technology, we're able to do this recording today. So it's brilliant, good stuff. And Matt, I know we're taking it seriously at the office, and perhaps tell us a bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, thanks, Marc. So there's currently 2 of us here at the office at the moment, so 300 square metres of space and 2 people. So we definitely come the 4 square metres per 1 person. We tick that box. So yeah, so using Zoom, we've been doing plenty of our appointments the last couple of weeks through video conferencing, which is a great tool, and a lot of clients, probably like all of us, brushing up on our IT skills using this sort of software. But I think one benefit of this whole crisis is people will become a bit more IT savvy moving forward and realise we shouldn't be scared of adopting some of these measures. Can make it a bit more efficient use of our time rather than travelling in cars for so long around, especially in cities. Alice Springs is a little bit different, but Adelaide, it's traffic can be a nightmare. But yeah, so the office is surviving. We've got plenty of our staff, team members working from home, which we communicate with daily. So same old for Verve Group. Yeah,
no, it's good stuff. It's really, especially for people in the personal services industries, it's allowing people to work from home, and it's allowing businesses to have some sort of normality. So it's good stuff. All right, so to today's topic, cash flow in a crisis. I'll just bring it up.
So obviously business at the moment, Marc, as we've seen in the media the last couple of days with pubs and restaurants, etc., closing and doing it tough.
Yeah, that's right. We're seeing lots of businesses whose turnover is basically reducing to zero, which is obviously very hard to pay anything when that's the case. But if you're one of the lucky ones that can continue to trade in some format, cash flow is king, and we're trying to manage our cash flows as much as possible. And there are several things you can do from a business sense to assist with that cash flow. And I think the first one, a lot of businesses, we have debtors. They also have creditors. They may have stock, and there's also plant and equipment. So these are the 4 main levers when you're looking at a balance sheet of a business that have a big impact on our cash flow. Extending credit to our customers, that's our debtors, who owe money. And I think it's not really a good strategy to say, well, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my debtors to pay me. I think you have to be really proactive here. Get on the phone to your customers, talk to them about the payments, what's likely to happen. If you've got customers that are struggling, offer them to pay off in installments, but keep the cash flow coming. Because if you don't get paid, you can't pay your creditors, and then they can't pay their people, and they can't, and it's a knock-on effect. So it's really important that every business looks at their debtors and just be on the phone, be proactive, and make sure that people are going to, if they can't pay the full amount, pay something and make regular instalments. And it's the same on the other side of the scale, your creditors, when you've got your suppliers and you owe them money. There were provisions allowed in the stimulus to lessen the burden on directors, so the insolvency and bankruptcy laws are being relaxed. So it is somewhat easier to enter into arrangements without the fear of having statutory demands placed upon you. So, but I don't advocate that you just don't pay your creditors. I think you need to be on the phone with them as well. And creditors can also be things such as your rent with your landlord. I encourage every business owner that's paying rent to be on the phone with their landlord. We're probably going to see some announcements in relation to rents coming out in the next few days, but I think essentially get on the front foot, again, be proactive. And you can definitely reduce your cash flow commitments via rent by just having a conversation. One example, I know one of my clients, he basically had commercial rental properties, went to a lot of his tenancies and offered a 50% discount on the rent. So for the next 6 months. So deals can be done, but if you don't ask the question, the answer is always no. I guess the other two, stock and fixed assets. Stock, with decreased turnover, you don't need as much stock. So be proactive about getting stock out that is either slow or is surplus requirements. Reduce your stock, turn that into cash, and then you don't need to replace it because of your decreased turnover. So look at those lines. Be analytical and see which ones can. Obviously, if you had 10 cartons was normal, you may only need 5. So if you sell 5, you don't need to replace them. So that's cash in the bank. So certainly your stock levels can be reduced if your turnover levels are reducing as well. And fixed assets, that's plant and equipment and all that sort of thing. I think a lot of people will be very slow to buy plant and equipment for the next 6 months at least. But if the ATO part of the stimulus package is offering the instant asset write-off, which we've all been used to for small businesses for quite a few years now. They've increased that from 30,000 to 150,000. So if you are going to buy a piece of plant and equipment and you've got the cash reserves to do that or the finance to be able to purchase it, then you're going to get a very good tax break for assets up to 150,000. Be careful, must be installed and ready to use by 30 June 2020. But yeah, putting a halt and making sure what assets you have got are used more efficiently will have a much better impact on your cash flow. In terms of cash flow and people who are sole traders, if you have a significant decrease in your turnover, then you are eligible for the job seeker allowance. That does mean going to Centrelink to get that. But if you do get the job seeker allowance, you'll also be allowed the coronavirus supplement on top of that. So the job seeker allowance is around $500 a fortnight, and the coronavirus supplement is $550 a fortnight. So if you're a sole trader and your turnover's decreased dramatically, then you can supplement your cash by getting the job seeker allowance. And if you get both the allowance and the supplement, it's roughly just over $500 a week. So that might mean the difference between being able to pay rent and buy food or not. So I suggest, yes, seek assistance from Centrelink in relation to that one. The ATO is being very proactive when it comes to deferring payments and assisting business. So again, these are all things that are going to assist your cash flow, because the longer we can hold on to it, the better off we'll be. So the ATO will defer payments for up to 6 months. So if you can either talk to us, we can talk to the ATO on your behalf, or you can talk to the ATO directly if you wish to. But certainly they will put all payments on hold for 6 months, similar to what the banks are doing, which I know Matt's going to talk about in a moment. But definitely you can talk to the ATO and defer payments. The ATO is also offering that if you have a serious downturn and you feel like your profits aren't going to just be there like they were going to be, you can vary your PAYG instalment to 0. And if you do that, you can also claim potentially a refund for your September and December PAYG instalments that you've paid. Again, assisting your cash flow. So not having to pay the instalment for March and getting the September and December quarters back in your pocket certainly is a way to assist your cash flow. The other measure the ATO is putting in place to help businesses is any interest and penalties incurred after the 23rd of January 2020 will be remitted. So you can be assured that the ATO is not going to impose penalties on you as a result. My advice in relation to this one is lodge everything on time. Don't be late lodging your BASs, and make sure you lodge on time. But if you can't pay on time, that's where you will incur interest normally, but they're going to remit that from the 23rd of January. Just a side note on this one thing the ATO has been pretty clear about, and not making sure that businesses don't get behind, is superannuation for employees. So super guarantee, I haven't got it written up here, but I do want to impress that, don't get behind on superannuation. Don't let that be the first thing that doesn't get paid. Make sure you pay your super, because they won't be so light in relation to superannuation payments. And then, the ATO has made it clear that they will work with businesses. If you've got an existing debt and any future debts or tax liabilities that you're going to incur in time, they'll only be too willing to assist businesses. So again, when I was talking about your customers and your suppliers being proactive, your landlord, be proactive. The ATO is no different. Be proactive, get on the front foot, don't wait for the ATO to call you. When you know that you're going to be in trouble, talk to them, or you can talk to Verve Group, and that there will always be a solution. The worst thing you can do is put your head in the sand, and I encourage all business owners to not do that. Make sure you talk to someone. Verve Group is here to help in relation to this. So from a business, they're the some areas that will assist. We want to keep money coming in. We're trying to hang on to money so that it doesn't have to go out, and we can either defer it or make sure we turn some of our assets like stock, into cash when we don't in our surplus requirements. So that's from a business perspective, cash flow in a crisis. I'm going to hand over to Matt now. He's going to talk a little bit about pre-retirees and retirees in relation to cash. So, Matt, I'll throw to you. What have you got?
Beautiful. Thanks, Marc. So first of all, exactly the same as what Mr. Lotus said, cash flow is king. So in these times, it's cash in the bank is going to be vital for us all. So I'm going to talk about accumulators and retirees. So people, family, business, still building up their wealth, haven't retired yet, and I'll talk about retirees. But obviously, if your job's at risk, you want to have some access to some cash somewhere. So whether that's, a lot of people will think I haven't got any money sitting in the bank, but they might be in front on 12 or 18 months in their home loan, so they might have money there they can dip into. So the last thing you want to be doing at the moment, which I'll talk about a little bit later on, is selling investments or long-term investments at the bottom of the market, i.e. shares, etc. So, but certainly have a look at if you think your job's going to be at risk in the next few months, have a look at your offset account and your home loan, see how much you are in front. And obviously talking about home loans, which Marc alluded to this a little bit before, the banks are now offering a deferral up to 6 months on your principal and interest repayments. So you need to contact your individual banks in regards to that. They will capitalise those interest and repayments. So it's not just a pause where you just don't pay anything for 6 months. It will accumulate on your debt, so you've got to watch that. But that's probably the number one thing I'd be looking at if cash flow gets very tight. If you've got a home loan, is certainly look at doing that. I know for businesses as well, Marc, they're doing something very similar for small business loans.
Yes, that's right, Matt. I mean, it's not just your mortgage on your home, on your main residence, but yeah, business loans. Business owners can do the same thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then obviously, for those that have got investments that are, i.e. superannuation, whether it's shares, managed funds, etc., essentially now's not the time to be selling. We've seen what the market's done the last probably 3 weeks. Share markets up and down like a yo-yo. In the last couple of days, it dropped 7 or 8%. It's back up 7 or 8%. Now's the time to be holding your nerve. So sit on it. If it is long term, leave it. It will recover over time. So obviously, if you run out of cash and you're forced to sell up, well, that's a different story. But certainly that would be the last thing I'd be doing at the moment. So hold your nerve. Talking about super and investments, and this has obviously got a fair bit of media as well lately, is you can access up to $10,000 from your superannuation. And you can do that in this financial year and again in the 2021, so after July. There's a couple of conditions though in regards to this. So it's and or any of these. So it's you're unemployed, you're on New Start or eligible for New Start or job seeker payment, or if you're a sole trader, your income is reduced by about 20%. So again, as I said the other day in our video, probably not a great time to be pulling money out of super, but it is there if you need it. This won't be eligible until the middle of April, and you do it through your MyGov account. So you don't ring your super fund, it's through MyGov. So if you need a hand, give us a call, we can point you in the right direction there. And then obviously, finally, which some of these are the bleeding obvious, you can't travel at the moment. So essentially look at your budget and cut all non-essential expenses. So travel's out the window for at least for the next few months. The big ticket items, you may push them back 12 or 18 months. So look at your budget, see what you can trim. There will be deals out there, left, right, and centre at the moment. So go through all your sort of fixed expenses and your variable ones and look at those and see what you can cut back on. Obviously, you won't be eating out as much. There won't be any travel. So naturally, our budgets our expenses will drop anyway. So over to the retiree front. So again, for these people, cash flow is king because essentially you've built your money up over your lifetime and now you're living off your assets, Centrelink, superannuation, etc. So it is a cash flow game for these people. They generally, we're advising people to make sure they've got 2 or 3 years of cash available or cash reserves, whether it's in their super or outside of super. So if an event like what's happened at the moment occurs, they can draw down on cash so that they are not selling out at the bottom, which is, as I said before, is the last thing you want to be wanting to do. The government, in one of the stimulus packages, has reduced down what you need to draw out of super. So for example, if you're less than 65 and retired drawing from super, you must draw, was 4%, they've halved that to 2%. So essentially trying to preserve money inside superannuation. So when markets turn around, you've got more money there to obviously increase in value. So if you're lucky enough that you can afford to reduce your pension payments down, I'll be certainly looking at doing that. The other question you get a little bit at the moment is, well, do I switch my investment options within my super and investments to take less risk, trying to preserve capital, which if you're a long-term investor, that's the last thing you want to be doing, because you'll lock in those losses. So obviously, if you're looking at your statements every day at the moment, you'd see a fair bit of movement in value. So as quickly as this has gone down, I don't think it's going to go back up in 2 or 3 weeks, but certainly when it moves up, it'll happen quickly, and in days it'll jump back up, big percentage increases. So generally, stay invested the long term. Retirees that are in their 60s and 70s, you're still long term investors. I think the stat is at the moment, if people get to age 65, there's a greater than 50% chance one will go to 90. So you still need to look long term. As I said before, for the accumulators, cutting the non-essentials. So yes, travel is out. I know obviously Qantas and Virgin, a few of the airlines are giving credits and refunds. So a lot of people with trips are getting credits or refunds back. So certainly if you've booked travel, obviously not in the next 2 or 3 months, that's obviously off the cards, but even later in the year, I'd be contacting those places, seeing whether they have got a credit or a refund option available. So cross-check that. And obviously think big ticket items, renos, new cars, etc. You'd be probably looking at cutting some of those expenses back, unless you've got the cash sitting there in your bank to do it. The other one that's getting plenty of press, and we've seen the lineups at Centrelink the last few days, is the once-off payments. So for eligible retirees, so you can be on a pension card or getting the age pension or the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card, you're eligible for this 750 once-off payment, so which will be made late in March and then again in July. So for people that aren't on age pension but have got that Commonwealth Seniors Health Card, they'll get this as well. So keep an eye out on that. So yes, plenty of. I think the information's changing daily. There's plenty of news out there as generally the media pushes out all the bad news at the moment. But I think in times like this, Marc, we're seeing how resilient we are, and I think information is the key, and getting quality information, which is the aim of these videos. We're trying to give you as much information out there as we can. We're here to help you. So jump on the phone, send us an email, book a Zoom appointment. We're here to help. Yeah. So any closing words from you, Mr. Loader?
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with you on that. Yes, Verve Group, we are here to help. So if anything we've spoken today you want to know more about, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. But yes, my final comment is stay safe, look after each other, be kind to each other, no more hoarding of toilet paper. Thank you. Until next time. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Bye.